Okay, we'll probably use just one block today, and you might want to have a blanket or a small cushion handy. We're going to do quite a bit of work side lying and some moves as usual that you maybe have never done before. So really good just to keep the body moving in all of its capabilities and in unfamiliar ways. So we'll start lying on our back in Shavasana. Arriving in your body and in this moment, which with each breath, we might take a moment here following the reading that I shared to just reflect upon what's good about you, what's wonderful about you, and less thinking about it, try to turn it more into feeling about it. But let's begin our movement inquiry with the Baddha Konasana slide. So we slide the outer edge of one foot toward the pelvis to make roughly the tree pose shape. You might pause and just let the weight of the leg go here before you slide the foot away from you to straighten the leg. Alternating legs. Go slow, feel what's arising. About one more time each side. And now let's start to do both legs at the same time. Outer edges of the feet slide toward the pelvis. Eventually, the soles of the feet come together and the knees stay wide apart, and then legs slide out straight again. The next time you slide your feet toward you, plant the feet about hip width apart. And interlace your hands underneath your head at the base of the skull. Just allow the arms to be as heavy as they can be for a moment. Notice your breath. Now let's do a little butterfly flapping, so to speak, with the arms. So with your inhalation, press the arm bones into the floor or closer to the floor. And then exhale, head and hands stay down, elbows squeeze together. As you press the arm bones down, feel the shoulder blades move toward the spine, retraction. And as you bring the arms away from the floor and squeeze the elbows together, feel the shoulder blades move away from the spine, protraction. One more time. Let's inhale, open the elbows apart, and come back to Baddha Konasana with the legs, soles of the feet together, knees apart. Take a breath in here, and as you do, press the arms down and arch your spine away from the floor. Pelvis stays down, sacrum stays rooted. Exhale, press the lower back into the floor, bring the knees together, bring the elbows together, and lift your head with your hands, curling up toward your knees. Follow your breath, inhaling. Arms and legs create the same shape. And we find a back bend. Exhale, root through your spine, curl up, hugging in toward the midline. Really squeeze the knees together and really squeeze the elbows together. Try a few more times. Full breaths in, long breaths out. Take your time. With your exhale, try not just pressing the spine into the ground, but drawing the front of the abdominal wall back toward the floor. So from front to back, back to floor. The last one. And then eventually come back into the full release of Shavasana. Let your arms rest on the ground, but right alongside your body. Let's start a little shoulder shrug here. So draw one shoulder up toward the ear and the other shoulder down away from the ear. One shoulder shrugs up while the other slides down. Keep going. Feel the shoulder blades gliding along the floor. Keep the hands and the arms as heavy as you're able to. Really initiating from the shoulder blade as much as you can. Even the shoulder blade rather than the shoulder. So we can kind of find the movement from the shoulder and then see if you can bring it into or initiate it from the shoulder blade. Gliding up or down. Let's add a nod of the head, a no nod. And let's turn the head toward the downward facing shoulder. Turn the head and then keep revolving the eyeballs. So you're looking down, kind of underneath the shoulder. Keep going with one shoulder down, one shoulder up, and just change the rotation of your head. So now you're rotating the head toward the upward gliding shoulder. Your chin might bump right into the shoulder. Eventually making your way back to center, both shoulders down, arms heavy. Keep your arms heavy and curl the fronts of your shoulders in toward your sternum. And then release back down. Try that a few more times. Fronts of the shoulders drawing basically toward each other, but you can think about curling them in toward the sternum. Hold for just at least a tiny moment at the end range and then release. Next time the shoulders are down, let them remain there. Bring your knees in toward your chest. Let's bring the hands to the knees and circle the knees. Circle knees in the opposite direction. So they're not moving together, rather they're moving opposite. So we get this almost Baddha Konasana shape along the way. Switch directions. Knees together, knees apart. Keep the knees airborne or keep the legs airborne and cross at your shins. So knees move away from each other. See if you can reach to hold your feet. This is like sitting cross-legged on the ceiling. Flex your feet and draw your elbows down toward the floor. Breathe into the back ribs. Switch the cross of your legs. Flex your feet. Draw the legs toward the trunk. Release the feet. Aerial Baddha Konasana. So legs are still up in the air, feet together, knees wide. Try to reach for your feet or your ankles, shins, whatever you can grab hold of. Knees stretch away from each other. Bring your feet up more over your chest. That's it. Keep the feet together, knees apart, but release your hold and bring the feet down. So you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclining butterfly. Releasing the weight of your legs. Feet don't have to be super close to your pelvis. You can slide them further away if it's too uncomfortable. Relaxing the shoulders, all the muscles in your face. Place imaginary weights on your inner thighs. So you create some resistance to bring the knees together and the feet flat to the ground. And then slide the legs out straight, coming back to Shavasana. Let's roll onto the left side. And let's try for a straight left arm as your pillow. If your neck isn't comfortable here, you can place a blanket between your head and your arm. Bend your knees, but not a deep hip crease, right? So let's not, like we might normally bring the knees in super close to the chest. Let's not bring them in so close. So maybe not even in line with the hips. So more of an open angle at the hips. Okay, so from here, your top leg is your right leg. Let's lift it just enough so we can bring it to the ground or as close to the ground as possible in front of the bottom leg. And then lift it and bring it behind the bottom leg. So we're trying to bring the leg to or close to the ground in front of and behind the bottom leg, alternating. That's it. So foot and knee releasing to or toward the ground. Probably relatively easy in front and not so much behind. That's my experience anyway. Go a few more times. And then the next time the top leg comes in front of the bottom leg, allow it to rest there and move your awareness to your head. So we'll view the arm, this left arm, the head is on, kind of like a speed bump. And now let's roll the head. Head is heavy here, as heavy as you can manage it to be. Roll the head so it's in front of the arm. So you're kind of more on your forehead. And then roll over the speed bump of your arm so the head is behind the arm on the ground. If your neck is uncomfortable or you can't quite get there, you can always add a little blanket support so that your head isn't hovering. Go forward and back in front of the arm and behind the arm. A few more times. And now let's reintroduce the leg movement. As the head rolls in front of the arm, the leg goes behind the bottom leg, top leg behind bottom leg. Might be a little easier now. And then leg comes in front of the bottom leg and head rolls behind the arm. Back and forth, head one way, leg the other way. Let's come back to center so the legs are stacked and the head is on top of the arm. If you're on your left side, let's take the right arm up toward the ceiling and then bend at the elbow, lift your head so you can bring your right hand to the left side of your head. And then you can let the head come back down. It'll be on the right hand now. See how much you can let go of the weight of your head. So we'll lift the head with the hand, trying not to use your neck at all. So using your right hand to lift your head to side bend for the neck so the right ear gets closer to the right shoulder. Keep the weight of the head in the hand as you release it back down to the arm. And try that a couple more times. Hands lifting head, hand creating the path back down or controlling the release of the head back down. Better way to say it. And now we'll lift the head just like we have been and place it down in front of the arm. Use your hand to lift your head and place it down behind the arm. Let's try that one more time. Just using the hand to lift and lower the head in front of and behind your left arm. And now we'll reintroduce the leg movement. And again, moving opposite. So as the head comes in front of the arm, bring the leg behind the arm, the leg behind you, or behind the bottom leg. And then switch, head behind the arm, leg in front of the bottom leg. So the hand is essentially lifting the head to clear the speed bump of your arm. Keep going 1 or 2 more times. And then eventually come back to center, so legs are stacked and head is resting on the arm. And now let's just roll for the second side. On your right side, bottom arm is your pillow. Put a blanket between your head and your arm if your neck could use some extra support. And knees are bent, but not a ton. Okay, we lift the top leg and lower it in front of the bottom leg. And then lift the top leg and lower it behind the bottom leg. Next time the leg comes in front of the bottom leg, leave it there on the ground. Roll your head in front of your arm. Come probably onto the forehead at least a little bit. And then let the head roll off of the arm back behind you. Rolling forward and back over the speed bump of your arm. Try to keep your head as heavy as you can. Rather than lifting it, let it roll or slide, glide. When you're ready, reintroducing the leg movement, head and leg going opposite. So as the head rolls back behind the arm, the leg is in front. And as the head rolls in front of the arm, the leg comes behind and toward the ground. Let's come back to center, legs stacked, head on the arm. Stretch left arm up toward the ceiling, top arm, and then bend the elbow. Kind of wrap your arm around your head so you can take hold of the right side of your head with your left hand. Fully releasing the weight of your head into your hand. Using the hand to lift the head off of the arm. Using the hand to hold the weight of the head as it comes back down. Feeling that side bend of your head to the left as the ear gets closer to the shoulder. Now we'll start to lift the head, lower it in front of the arm, lift the head, lower it behind the arm. Adding the leg, moving in opposition. So when the head comes behind the arm, the leg goes in front. When head goes in front of the arm, the leg goes behind. Students often ask, like, where should I be feeling this? Well, you'll feel it wherever your body is the most resistant to this motion. Yeah, so I feel it, of course, in my neck, but also a lot in my left armpit. So you'll get what you need. There's not a right place to feel it. One or two more times. Maybe the arm is getting tired from lifting your head. It's heavy. And then we'll bring the head back on top of the arm and the legs to stack. And then roll, we're going back to the first side, so rolling onto your left side again. And this time we'll stack the elbow under the shoulder. So I'm propped up here with the left elbow underneath the left shoulder. And then what's important here is that you're not letting your, get my hair out of the way so you can see, but you're not letting your shoulder sink in, or you're not like sinking into your shoulder. So I'm pushing the floor away with my elbow. It's side plank feel, right? I'm pushing the floor away so the shoulder moves down away from the ear. Okay. The knees are bent here. Again, that same like part, somewhat bend, and not going for this big tuck, but the knees are somewhat bent. So left arm is down. I'll bring my right hand to my left wrist. And you can slide the hand a little bit to reach it, but we're basically in this kind of side plank, side forearm plank setup. And then from here, I'll press the not only the left arm down, but the right hand into the left wrist to create a little bit more lift for the torso. Let's straighten the legs. Now, so the legs are stacked, so we're even more close to this side plank feel. Really prioritize shoulder down away from the ear. So that might mean staying right here and not adding, but then option to add a lift of the hips and a lowering of the hips. Even if it's just the teeniest little lift or this idea of lifting, you still benefit. So it's not about all or nothing, everybody. You can even keep the hips down, but like engage the muscles that would lift you up and still greatly benefit. Just a couple more times here. All of a sudden, we're kind of working hard. And then one more time, maybe, if it's working for you. And then once the hips come back down, bend the knees again, that kind of partial bend. And we're gonna try to take hold of this top foot, this right foot. You don't have to, get what you can. We're gonna bend and straighten. So maybe holding the big toe, straighten or straighter the leg, and then bend. Make sure you're not sinking into this bottom shoulder. So shoulder really working here. So we're gonna straighten and bend. And then when you bend, elbow to the inside of the leg on one time, and then straighten, and when you bend, elbow to the outside of the leg. Alternating, so the arm inside, then outside the leg a few times. The next time you straighten the leg, see if you can bring it a little bit more in front of you. You could keep hold of it. Actually, let's let go of our grip and just bring the leg almost down and then back up. A few times here, leg coming close to the ground and then back up a few inches. Keep drawing the shoulder down. And if you're losing that ability, you can come down so you're not compromising your shoulder. And then just hold the leg, hovering it away from the ground. Bend the knee, land the leg, and switch sides. On your right side, elbow beneath the shoulder, drawing the shoulder blade down the back. Left hand on top of the right wrist hand area. So not only am I pressing the elbow down, but I can also press the hand down. Lifting the torso a little bit more if that's available. And then straighten your legs. Try to make sure your hips are stacked, that you're not dropping back. Keep rooting down, shoulder blade down the back. And maybe lifting the hips even just a tiny bit and then lowering back down. Maybe lifting the hips quite a bit and lowering back down. Maybe just engaging the muscles that would lift the hips without actually coming up. A few more times. That's it. Last one. And then bend the knees again. Once the hips are down, keep moving this right shoulder down away from the ear. Bend your knee a lot so you can maybe hold any part of your foot, maybe the big toe. And then we'll straighten or straighter the leg and then bend the knee. So each time you bend the knee, switch so the elbow is on the outside of the leg one time and on the inside of the leg the other time. Next time the leg is straight or straighter, release the grip and bring it out in front of you, almost but not quite to the ground. Check in again that this right shoulder is down and you're really driving into the floor with the elbow. And then it's a small lift and lower of this aerial leg. Holding the leg in this hover. Bend the knee, Release the leg down and roll onto your belly. Let's stack the hands and rest the head. Take hold of your elbows with your hands, elbows somewhat in front of the shoulders. So that pretty much automatically means, or I'm inviting you now to lift head and chest. So we're in a Sphinx variation. Draw your shoulder blades down away from your ears. Let's tuck the toes under, squeeze the glutes, and root the front of the pelvis. As you lower down, tuck one arm underneath you and roll onto your back. Resting here in Shavasana. Plant both feet. Find your neutral pelvis, small space between lower spine and the floor. Stretch your right leg up toward the ceiling. Let's take the hands around the thigh and draw the leg a bit closer in if there's availability for that. Keep that little lumbar curve intact. Maybe slide the left leg straight. Press the left thigh down. Push out through both heels. Using the hands to draw the right leg in, but also pushing the leg into the hands a bit. Slide slide the left foot out just to the left edge of your mat, so it's a little off the midline. And then bring your left hand to the top of your left thigh. So we're going to try to keep the left side of the pelvis down. You could release your right arm or you can use it just for a little extra support. We'll open the right leg out to the right and then bring it back up. Try not to tip to the side. It's not about getting the right leg down to the ground. It's more about keeping the pelvis level and finding the opening within that range. So we're opening and closing, or opening the leg out to the right and then bringing it back to vertical. Check in with the front of the rib cage. If it's flaring up toward the ceiling, draw it down. And then the next time you open up, stay, maybe using your right hand on the underside or the right side of your thigh, or you could wedge a block between the thigh and the floor so the pelvis is still level. Nice work. Bring the leg back up and then plant the right foot and bring the left leg up toward vertical, at least initially. Make sure you have Little space between the lumbar, your lower spine, and the floor, neutral pelvis. And taking your hands around your left thigh, drawing the leg in closer without flattening the back. Options: straighten your right leg, press the right thigh down, and drive through both heels. I'm drawing the leg in with the hands, but the leg is resisting a little bit back into the hands. Bring your right hand to the top of your right thigh. You can release your left hand or just help to continue to use it for some support. Opening left leg out to the left without tipping the pelvis to the left, and then bringing the leg back up to vertical. Go slow, but keep moving. And then the next time the leg is out to the left, let's hold there, maybe with the help of the hand or a block. Reaching through both legs. Bring the leg back up to vertical and bring the right leg up to meet it. Let's take the hands around the backs of the thighs. Press the thighs into the hands. Let the front of the rib cage release down toward the ground. Make sure you still have a little gap between the lower back and the floor. Push out through your heels. Release your hands, but keep the legs active. Squeezing the quads, heels driving up toward the ceiling, toes spread. Now let's press the lower spine into the floor and slowly lower the legs down. Keep rooting through the lower back down, 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 down. Releasing all the way to Shavasana. Notice what you notice. Okay, from here, bend your knees, roll to your side, and let's come into child's pose. Let's add a bit of a side bend here, go off to either side. Other side. Back to center. If you have a blanket on your mat, remove it. If you've been working on carpet, go get your yoga mat. And let's meet in downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Bending deeply into one knee while the other heel presses down. You might even shift the heels one to one side to create a little more side bend action. Little side body sensation. Keep pushing the floor away. Let your head be heavy. And then let's come back for stillness in down dog. Just a couple breaths. Broadening across the upper back, shoulder blades away from the spine rather than sinking into the chest. Walk your feet up toward your hands. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Knees can be bent here. If you have sciatica or any kind of disc issues, try to take all the rounding out of your spine. So more chest forward instead of just draping. If you don't have any disc issues or sciatica, you can roll through the spine to come up. Otherwise, strong legs and relatively flat back, making your way up to standing. Meeting in Tadasana, mountain pose. Suddenly I can see some heads I couldn't see and some legs. The joys of online practice. Okay, we're gonna stretch the left arm up toward the ceiling. Yeah, just left arm, sorry. And really reach for the ceiling. This will be a side bend, but I want you to think up and over versus just over. So you're gonna keep reaching up as you take it over to your right. Notice if the bottom side of your rib cage, so your right side, if you're mirroring me, if it's dropping back a lot, see what it feels like to bring it forward. Let's look down alongside the right leg and then up toward the right hand, left hand. One more time, look down and look up. And then reach up, reach, reach, reach to come out and let this arm release down. Good. Same thing, second side, right arm reaching up, up, up. Think up and over rather than just over, and keep reaching through the arm in this side bend. Let's look down alongside your left leg. and then up toward the right hand. Again, looking down and looking up. And then reach to come up and out and let your arm float down. Good. Okay, you might want your block. We're going to do a little standing work, starting with triangle, Trikonasana. So we'll start with a wide stance. And I'll mirror you, so turn your right toes out. You can place your block inside or outside the front ankle. Let's bring left hand to the hip and right arm out in front of you. And same kind of reaching action we just did. So allow your hips to drift back as you reach, reach, reach. Beautiful. Out over the front leg. And then when the hamstring says that's as far as you're going, just bring your hand down. So we stay open here rather than now rounding to get to the floor. Bottom side of the rib cage, so your right side of the rib cage. You can even take your left hand and see if you can nudge it a little bit more forward, like we're rolling the ribs open. Excellent. And then you can keep your hand on your hip or stretch your arm up. Let's find that little neck movement again, looking up toward that upper arm, hand, and then looking down toward your front foot. Isolating that movement in the neck so the chest isn't changing where it is at all, just rotating your neck. Next time you look up, if it works for your neck, keep your head up and then let your head follow your hand as you bring your left arm alongside your ear. Again, we didn't really change the position of the chest, so keep the chest out in front of you rather than down toward the ground. Still reaching, so that kind of up and over action. Make sure your right shoulder isn't popping up to crowd your ear, it's still down. See if you can press a little more through the outer edge of your back foot. And then maybe turn your gaze down toward your front foot. Bring the arm back up and maybe the gaze back up as well. And then reach to rise up and release the arm. Beautiful. We'll stay on this side for side angle. Bend your right knee. Deepen your hip crease to bring your hand down to your block, inside or outside the front foot. Let's take that handful of ribs again, or try. So left hand to right side of the ribs, and see if you can just help or encourage the ribs to roll forward. It's rolling up toward the ceiling. From here, hand can stay on the hip or arm stretching up, or maybe arm alongside the ear. Reach as it goes and keep reaching. Beautiful. Maybe the gaze is at the upper hand. Maybe it's down at the bottom foot. Let the position of your head not influence where your chest is. So we keep rotating, rolling through the ribs. Push your feet down to rise up. And we're staying on this side for one more shape, half moon. Let's flip the block to the highest setting and bring it out in front and to the right of your front foot. If this is an easy pose for you, you can keep the block in line with the foot. That's harder. Bend your knee, hand to the block, left hand to the hip. Find that same rolling of the ribs. So rather than starting facing the floor and then opening, we're just going to start open. It's not wrong to do it the other way, just different. And then you can walk or slide or hop your back foot in until you can balance on your front leg. See if you can find that rolling of the ribs up toward the ceiling action again. Woo. Energy through your aerial leg. If you want to go lower with your right hand, it could happen from the hip crease. So that's more if you're feeling pretty solid in your balance, you can lower the block, but keep this right side elongated rather than now I'm facing the floor and I've lost the length through the torso, but yay, I got my hand down. Looking down is more stabilizing for balance. Looking up, more challenging. Let's ease back down. So bend the standing leg, land the back foot. Come on all the way up. Let's come to mountain pose. And notice in particular the two sides of the body, if they feel different. Slow, steady breath. Okay, setting up for second side of triangle Trikonasana. So wide stance, left toes turn out. If you're mirroring me, you can have your block to the inside or the outside of the front foot. Let's place the right hand on the hip and left arm out in front. Let the hips drift back and reach, reach, reach out over the front leg. Keep reaching so it's out in front of you rather than down. And when the hamstring says, that's as far as I'm taking you, then you just bring your hand down. You can bring your right hand to the left side of the ribs and kind of help roll the ribs up toward the ceiling, maybe extending up through the arm. Let's add our head rotation. The chest stays where it is, facing out in front, alternating, looking up toward the aerial hand and down toward the front foot. Just a couple times. And then if it works for your neck, gaze is up here for a moment. And gaze following the hand as you bring your arm alongside your ear into more of this side bend feel. Make sure your left shoulder isn't hunched up toward your ear. That's really common. Root a little bit more through the outer edge of your back foot and keep reaching, reaching through this top arm. Bring the arm back up and root through your feet and reach through your arm to rise up, releasing the arm down. Parshva Konasana, side angle. Bend the front knee. Deepen the hip crease to bring the hand down. Right hand to the left side of the ribs. You might not actually get them to move much, but even this kind of brushing action helps to send the message to the body. Maybe the hand stays on the hip. Maybe the arm reaches up. Maybe the arm reaches alongside the ear. Keep reaching energetically through your arm and back through the leg. Root and reach to rise. You can place your block, maybe to start on the highest setting in front of and off to the left of your front foot. Directly in line with the foot if you want a bit more challenge for your balance. Bring your hand to the block, right hand to your right hip, and find that rolling of the ribs here. So we're starting open and staying open. Walking, creeping, hopping, sliding your back foot in until you can try balancing on your front foot. Down, looking down is better for balance. We're still taking this top shoulder back though. So we're still trying to face the long edge of the mat. If you want to bring your hand closer to the floor, it's a deepening of the hip crease. Really nothing else is changing. And just hinge a little bit more. Maybe extending through the arm. Nice work. Bending the knee, landing the foot to rise, making your way to Tadasana, mountain pose. Okay, we'll take our wide stance one more time. This time, maybe the feet stay parallel. Hinge at the hips, just halfway, so spine is parallel to the floor. And then shift over to your left, bending your left knee. Your hands can walk over to the left. Shift over to the right. So one leg straight, one leg bending. Keep the chest forward and let's not drop the head. So chest moving forward, hips low. Slow wave side to side. You can try tracking the knee, the bent knee, a little more toward the pinky toe side of the foot. And energetically reaching through the straight leg. Next time you come over to the left, so left knee is bent, right leg is straight. Ground your right hand underneath the right shoulder and bring your left fingertips to your left temple. Keep tracking this left knee wide. Try to keep the hips still and twist. It's a rotation to your left and then unwind to face the floor. Try that just a couple more times, energetically reaching through your right leg as you rotate to your left. Dynamically, so in and out of the shape. And then once you unwind, bring both hands down, shift over into your right leg, bending. Left hand down, right fingertips to right temple. Rotating. Now it's a twist to the right. And then unwind. Good. A couple more times. Low in the hips. At the end of that one, whenever it is for you, shift through to center so both legs can be straight or relatively straight. And now feel free to fold deeper and release the weight of your head. Rise up about halfway. And then pivot whatever way you want, so you can step back to touch down dog. And lower your knees into child's pose. Change slightly your setup in your child, so maybe your knees a little wider, a little narrower, your arms in a different position. Okay. Let's make a transition onto our backs again and have one of your blocks handy. Okay, using the block in a supported bridge. So knees bent, feet planted, and let's place the block on the lowest setting underneath the sacrum. Bring the block lower rather than higher, so it could be more under the bottom part of the sacrum or even just a tailbone. Really allowing the lower back to drop down unhindered by the block. Take the feet a bit wider than your hips. Keep one leg vertical and rock to the inner edge of the other foot so the knee swings in. Internal rotation. And then back to center and other side. So one leg stays vertical, the other leg drops in. Try to keep your ribs from flaring up here. So we're trying to isolate the hips. Keep dropping through the lower back. One or two more times. If your knee is bumping into your other leg, just take your feet a little wider apart. And then after your second side, root your feet, lift your pelvis, remove your block, and try to articulate one spine at a time, coming down, all the way down, and into your expression of Shavasana. Just resting. And now invite your breath to deepen. And begin to move in small and gentle ways. And when you feel ready, with care, make your way back up to a seat. Let's bring hands, palms together at heart center. Feeling your basic goodness, your innate goodness. And let's take a moment for gratitude for something that we take for granted. I'm grateful to each of you for practicing with me. Thank you. It's an honor and a joy. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.